Hi, welcome to Breaking the Panels. I'm Ashley, and this is my review of 2011's Green Lantern, starring Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Mark Strong, with Michael Clarke Duncan as the voice of Kilowog, and is directed by Martin Campbell. Now, I've wanted to review this movie for the longest time, but I guess what's always stopped me is the fact that I've never been able to really work out how I truly feel about Green Lantern. This movie comes under a hell of a lot of criticism to this very day from critics and fans alike. Even its lead actor took a tongue-in-cheek shot at the movie in the form of Wade Wilson making a quip about it in the Deadpool movie. But I think some of that criticism is a little unfair. Now, don't get me wrong, this movie isn't perfect, but considering Green Lantern is probably one of the most difficult characters to transfer onto film, it certainly nailed the character of Hal Jordan perfectly and featured a hell of a lot of elements that make up the Green Lantern universe. And you have to remember, this movie was made in a period of limbo for DC movies, as it was created during the Nolan trilogy of Batman movies, and a few years off of the birth of the DC Extended Universe. This movie chronicles the origin of test pilot Hal Jordan's recruitment into the Green Lantern Corps, as he encounters a dying alien and member of the Green Lantern Corps, Abin Sur, who bequeaths Hal Jordan his Green Lantern ring, as it believes Hal Jordan has the ability to overcome great fear, which is a key element and aspect of Green Lantern source material. Hal is soon transported to the planet Oa, center of the universe, where he will encounter some of the most iconic Green Lanterns of all time, in the form of Tomar-Re, Kilowog, and one of my favourite characters of all time, Sinestro, played to perfection by Mark Strong. Hal will soon learn how to tap into his Power Ring's vast potential, as he is trained by not only Drill Sergeant Kilowog, but by Thal Sinestro. The relationship between Sinestro and Hal Jordan is one of the most interesting and compelling relationships in comics today, all thanks to longtime writer and producer on this very film, Geoff Johns. Admittedly so, one of this movie's biggest weaknesses are the villains, in the form of Hector Hammond and Parallax. In my opinion, Hector's story arc was all too convenient, and having him being a childhood friend of Hal's was slightly lazy storytelling. Parallax is a very interesting element in the Green Lantern universe, who has a very storied history with Hal Jordan. Parallax was re-established by Geoff Johns in the Green Lantern miniseries Rebirth. I thought this movie was very brave in attempting this character, but he just looked awful, and just wasn't comic accurate enough for me. Another element in this movie that gets slated is the suit, which I find somewhat unfair. Now, don't get me wrong, it is not a good looking suit, and hardly resembles its comic book counterpart, but it is produced by The Ring, and is meant to be created by Energy, so at least they get that aspect right, even if the outcome was less than desired. One thing I can't defend though is Hal's power battery. One of DC Comics' most iconic pieces of technology, looked awful in this movie. I did, however, like The Ring, and when Hal Jordan spoke the Green Lantern Oath, I still got goosebumps even now when I hear it. And the Oath is a great example of just how much Green Lantern mythology is placed in this movie. So many elements are featured along with a plethora of Green Lanterns. But it has to be said, my absolute favourite moment from this movie is when a young Hal Jordan witnesses the death of his father. This is a crucial element of Hal Jordan's backstory, and they get it spot on. It is ripped straight from the pages of the source material. To summarise, I really enjoyed doing this review, and I hope you guys like it. And I really enjoyed going back and watching 2011's Green Lantern. Yeah, it's not perfect, and I can definitely see where people come from when they say they don't like it. But one thing for sure is that you have to respect this movie, because they did get a lot of things right. Hal Jordan was perfect, and so was Thal Sinestro. I would love to have seen the further exploits of those two characters portrayed by Ryan Reynolds and Mark Strong. And yeah, I wasn't particularly blown away by the periods of time spent on Earth. I would have much preferred to stayed in outer space. But hey, I'd love to see more Green Lantern down the line. Do you think we're going to get to see more Green Lantern live action movies in the future? Please comment below. Also remember to like and subscribe. You can find us all over social media at Breaking the Panels.